Hey, what's up, everybody? It's on and off the field with Durf and Dylan. What's going on?
Oh, not too much. Just enjoying my day off and getting stuff done around the house. How about you?
Well, it's not my day off because it's, middle of the week, but,
Hmm.
we're still here. We're grinding, making that bread
Yeah.
and kind of like getting the house ready and everything. We're grinding down on baby time here.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
only
you
like
are.
we're looking at close to like under 3 weeks almost
Whew.
of baby time. So
Wow.
whew, things are getting crazy. Got to get the house already. Nursery's pretty much done, but there's like clothes everywhere. That'll be a week. That's this weekend. We got to put all the baby clothes in designated boxes.
Hmm.
This box is for the 3 to 6 month, and this one's for the 6 to 9 month, and yeah. Oh Lord.
Well, it's better to be organized like that than be like, why can't I find any 6 and 9 month and all you have is newborn?
Right. Yeah, it sucks to do it, but it'll pay off down the road here.
Hmm.
But yeah, this is on and off the field. Yeah, welcome to the show. Excited to have you here. We're going to be talking some AFC North football.
Yeah.
We got Ravens, Bengals, Browns, and Steelers, a very heralded division. And we do have one guest coming on. My good buddy Zach will be joining us later on the program. But first, let's warm up the vocals and the lungs and get you all started with where to follow.
Oh, yes. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter is On and Off the Field podcast, I believe. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel for uncut episodes like today's and other great content coming soon. If you want to find out more about Dylan and I and about the podcast in general, head on over to onandoffthefield.com where you can find more about the podcast, where to find the podcast on all your favorite podcasting platforms, and much more. You can also head on over to the RTF Sports Network Facebook page, like them, and join in on listening to On Off the Field, as well as all the other great shows that are on that network. And you can also head off over to rtfsportsnetwork.com to listen to us live.
RTF Sports Network is growing.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a force to be reckoned with down the road. Tell you what, a lot of great shows on there. It's only getting better. Quality content.
Yeah.
Lots of great. And I had a great idea for our extra content that you mentioned that we're going to be putting on YouTube. I was thinking because last night the wife and I because I went to Aldi's and I bought the Swiss rolls from Aldi's, and then she also put a Walmart order in for pickup, and she also got Swiss rolls from Walmart, but it was a Little Debbie's brand, and the one at Aldi's is Aldi's brand, which was like Baker's Choice or whatever that is. So we did a taste test. Ooh. Which one's better? Is Little Debbie's really supreme to whatever the Aldi's brand was? So, which it turns out the Little Debbie's did break through as the winner. The cream in the Swiss roll was better than the off-brand one, but the off-brand one was cakier and better. The Swiss roll was drier, but it made up for the cream. We ended up going with the Little Debbie's brand, but that would be cool for content. Is
oh yeah,
Aldi's brand, off-brand stuff versus regular brand. So it's cheaper at Aldi's, but does it really taste better?
Yeah,
that's quality content right there.
Yeah,
that's stuff people need to know. Just an idea. Let us know. Go to onoffthefield.com and send us an email or DM us on any of our social media platforms and let us know if that's something you would tune into.
Absolutely.
Because I'm sure someone else has probably already done that anyways. But one other thing you can do on onoffthefield.com is go to our charities tab. It talks about all the different charities we are currently working for, trying to raise money for. And there's the Feeding America fundraising link is still up there that we've been doing for a while now. And then the new one, due to recent events and stuff that we really want to push forward with the show and our platform, the small platform that we have, is the Boys and Girls Club of America. I did a quick video the other day about it, why we chose that organization. It was actually brought to my attention from Danny Boy, one of our favorite people, one of our friends of the show,
one of our top fans.
Top? Is he really? Is he official top fan?
He's an official top fan.
He should be. He deserves it. He's always riding me on something that I post on our pages. But that's our current one. You can read about. If you go to the charities page, you can click on the picture to go to the website for Boys and Girls Club of America, and then also our fundraising page link is a little bit below that. Has their mission statement on there, their vision statement, all great information. Just go to onoutofthefield.com, charities tab, click the link. Super easy, super fast. And as we close up the information portion, we do want to jump straight into our. You can't ignore this fact at all. Mm-hmm. It's our Black Lives Matter movement continued. We'll put it that way, because this is not something that's new. Black Lives Matter movement has been a thing for years, and it's really gaining a lot more traction now with the recent events with the death of George Floyd, and this past weekend with America being set ablaze in multiple cities. And Fred and I talked, and obviously we both have some personal views and things that we're fighting with and just trying to figure out on our own. But our official stance for on and off the field is positive change and positive impact. And that's where the fundraiser comes in. If you don't know how to help, if you're not sure about going into the streets and protesting, you're not sure about just anything. Maybe you're in the middle of Redfield where I lived and you're up in the sticks and you want to help, you just don't have the resources. All you got to do, onoutfield.com, you can donate to Boys and Girls Club of America. And if you go on social media, people are posting links all over the place to the different organizations that you can donate to. Donating money is just a great start of trying to help these movements get started. So that's one way to help. You can also donate time. That is on Field's next step, is donating time either to the Boys and Girls Club of America, or at least there's one local here in Rochester. I talked about it on our quick video I made yesterday. Donating our time to them, figuring out what we want to do with the police department, and trying to bring the city together as one and have everyone understand what is happening, making sure that we can move forward free of, you can't say free of racism because it'll be forever a living thing, unfortunately, but we can try and get everyone on the same page and loving each other. That is what we want. That is our end goal. And that's what we want for Rochester, but it should be for all of New York, all of America. That's what you're taught from a very basic point in your life, is what the golden rule that you learn in kindergarten: treat others how you want to be treated. That is such a simple, stupid concept. Simple concept. I think you got to flip the words around. Simple concept that you're taught as a kindergartner that applies to now. It's so easy. That person over there is a human being. I will respect them in the utmost respect that they deserve, because they are a human. And that is the stance I'm taking. Everything that's been happening is heartbreaking. I mean, I'm mad, obviously, and everything you see in social media, I can't go on social media anymore. I'm cutting back on it excessively. The black box thing is amazing. And if people don't understand why the black box thing is happening, you need to talk to somebody to help you understand it, because it's a symbol of solidarity, and it's a symbol of starting a conversation to move towards a positive direction. That's what it's about. We realize posting a black box is not actually doing anything really. It's, okay, you post this and you move on. You're like, no, you post this and then you do something positive that follows up. You start the conversation. Now that's the difference. And just one last piece before I let Fred take over is Black Lives Matter is the movement. Whether you want to accept that or not, you can be left behind and be considered the racist outcast that we're fighting against. But Black Lives Matter movement is the movement because Black lives don't matter right now to a lot of people. And the reason that this is the movement is because we're trying to change that Black lives matter just as much as anyone else, but they don't right now. So if you respond to the Black Lives Matter movement by saying white lives matter, police lives matter, all lives matter, that's not the point. Everyone knows all lives matter. You don't have to tell us that. But everyone else's lives are at a higher level standard of living than Black people. That's a fact. You don't have to accept it right now. You can do the research and you can gain knowledge and you can accept that later down the road, but you have to work towards it because that's where this country needs to get. That's the point. Go ahead, Fred.
Oh, well, I'm in full agreement that our country as a whole just needs positive change regarding these racial injustices that are happening and just have come to surface so quickly in the last week or so. I'll be honest with you, I'm still reading multiple things, from a variety of sources, just trying to gather my information so that I have the best knowledge that I can obtain so that I understand the situation effectively. A lot of people are doing that right now because you just don't fully understand it right now, and you got to have those uncomfortable conversations with people, and because it needs to be done. So I'm going to continue to listen and learn from those affected so that I can find ways that I can help promote positive change that needs to happen. I think it's admirable, great that number of people who are trying to make a positive change in a peaceful way. It's a great thing. I know even from the sports world, I've seen many athletes involved in these peaceful protests. And I think that is something that we can aim for. I think it's something that we can have that will have a positive effect on. And I hope this brings change.
You'd like to think that this brings change. You would like to think that this is the last straw. We've seen this in the past. And I said it, one last thing I said on the last video was America likes to move past things quickly. This is just kind of the fad of America. As soon as it's not popular anymore, if it's something that's kind of died off, we just move to the next thing. You can't let this one die out. This is not just your fad. This isn't a TikTok video. This isn't something that's just, a viral sensation.
Yeah,
this is a man murdered in the streets because of racism and ignorance, and it ends now.
Yeah,
and we're going to play our part as much as we can. So, thanks for listening to our little soapbox. But this is where we stand as white males. This is where we stand as a podcast. So now you understand where we are with this, and if you don't agree, let us know your platform. Maybe you can help us understand. We can help you understand. And we're going to keep talking with more people as we move forward. As Fred said, just still listening, still researching, still understanding. That's our job these days, is just to listen. So thank you for that. And we're going to jump into our next segment here. The other sports, really quickly, actually, just because sports are starting to come back. The reality of it is we need sports back. As we can see as a nation, sports are a desperate, we need them right now. And as we slowly start to work our way back, the NBA, they're voting on what you said, Thursday?
Yep, I believe they're voting on Thursday with Adam Silver's plan. as to how they want to play out the playoff scenario, or how they're going to do the playoffs when they can come back to playing.
I've heard a lot of different strategies that might be taken for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Some kind of seeding, whatever. My suggestion was let the fans vote who gets in the playoffs. I think that'd be kind of fun. So then you see the Knicks in like the number 1 seed because they got the most votes. So like, I think that would be kind of interesting. Let's just turn it all on its head. Let's go for it.
I thought the whole like 1 through 16 seeding, no conferences defined, was turning it upside down. But that right there, that's way turning it upside down. That's turning it upside down multiple times.
That's like rolling it down a hill made of nails. Yeah, that'd be bad. All right, we'll table that. I'll bring it up. I'll email it into Adam Silver and see what he thinks. The major concern is baseball. Baseball is an absolute disaster right now. And the only reason I really want to bring up baseball is because Fred and I were talking about it before the show. And man, baseball has royally just screwed up this entire process. And maybe it's not baseball's fault because a lot of this was leaked. Somebody in the organization just loves spewing this garbage everywhere. But we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, like right in the middle of all the coronavirus pandemic, people losing their jobs. And we got $1 million athletes over here complaining about if they're going to make 35 million this season or like 33 million this season. That's a bad look. Yep. Major League Baseball, all the owners, we want to get our money. Like, terrible job by baseball. But the most recent one I saw is they want to play a 114 game schedule, and they're just still trying to work out the money. My suggestion, very simple. You just, however many games you don't play, you do the math, you subtract that out of that player and owners, everyone's pocket. You subtract it out of and you get what you paid for how much you play. Right. And then you know what you do with that money they didn't make, because this is a contract still. They still need that money. It's still part of their contract. Later down the road, you just make it guaranteed money later on. I feel like that is such a simple way to get this done. So everyone gets their money, everyone's happy, and everyone gets baseball.
Yep. Yeah, just that simple.
Maybe it's not. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you have like contract lengths. Like you could have people on a 1-year contract. Like right now, like what happens at the end of their contract if they don't re-up? Like does the team still owe them money? Like I think that's the first thing that popped in my head with this delay in paying the athletes. And I think they should delay in paying them the full amount that they're paying. We're in the middle of a crisis with this pandemic. We're heading towards the right direction, and I find it very unfortunate that these owners are being this greedy and like, no, we want to pay you less than what we said before. Like we think we should keep more of our money because we've lost so much. Well, you will gain it back as soon as baseball starts again. It'll be a little slow then, but once you get fans in those seats, skyrocketing, money everywhere. Owners are going to have money just falling from the sky all over them because they're not going to know what to do with themselves because everyone wants sports.
Excuse me while I try and shed a tear for the billionaires losing out on a couple million because baseball started late. Let me try and muster up some emotion for them. No, you can't even try and cry me a river because it'll just dry up real quick. It's a bunch of baloney, a bunch of greedy people. Just give us baseball. Figure it out. It should not be this hard. But like you did say, we're working towards a positive movement of sports returning.
Yeah.
And that leads us into our NFL news segment.
Yeah.
And we're officially 100 days-ish, around 100 days away from the NFL season starting. If, everything happens on time.
Right.
We're talking about positive things.
Yes.
If the NFL season starts on time, we are at the 100-day mark, which is just, I love that mark is always super exciting. for me. And I always come around to that 100-day mark, and it's like, all right, training camps are starting up.
Yeah.
We're close to, all the off-season programs, and then preseason's right around the corner, Hall of Fame game.
Yeah.
It's just it's like right in reaching distance.
It's right there.
And they did say training camps will begin, but with a twist.
Yeah. So no remote sites for the teams this year. So sorry to all you Cowboys fans that won't see the Cowboys in California this year. I feel like that's very weird, but that's a tangent on another time. So because they want to take player safety and organization safety as a top priority, all 32 teams will be performing their training camps at teams' facilities. So that's probably going to make it a little hard to get that fan experience that you would normally get at a training camp. But on a positive side, this allows them to practice, allows them to become a team with all these rookies that are involved, a lot of the veterans they bring in, and it allows us to potentially have great football in the fall.
That was a major concern of mine, at the beginning of all of this.
Right.
You have these rookies, which the rookie training camp stuff, all this virtual program garbage. Mm-hmm. How much did you really gain from that? Let's be honest. I'm not a part of it. I don't I didn't get to witness the virtual off season, but mm-hmm. I hated online classes that I took in college. We'll just put it that way. So I couldn't even learn. What did I take? I might have taken like a culinary safety class. It was like an elective. I took that online. I learned nothing through that. So if you're doing your playbooks and different things over online, it's kind of tough. So that was a major concern of mine. But now that everyone's able to actually get together as a team, all these new coaches, all these rookies, all these new veterans going into new teams, mm-hmm. It reassured me that we might have a real NFL season here with competitive talent.
Yeah.
One of those teams being the Cleveland Browns that we'll talk about later on.
Yeah.
New head coach, new tight end, new mm-hmm. offensive line. That's a team that has a lot of expectations, but without a regular offseason, I was concerned for them. So mm-hmm. maybe those are depleted, but we'll talk about that later with our guest, my buddy Zach, ZAC. No H, no K, or however else you might spell Zach. Don't ask me how to say his last name. He'll pronounce it when he gets on here. And he'll be mad at me that I don't know how to say his last name because we've known each other for a while now. But off the top of my head, sorry, I can't pronounce his last name. But that'll be our little treat for when he gets here.
Yeah.
When he listens back on this, he'll be like, "You didn't know how to say my name. What's going on?" He'll be mad. But that'll kind of lead us into our AFC North segment.
Yeah.
That's all of our NFL news. We're ripping and roaring and ready to talk about the AFC North, baby.
Oh yeah.
A very rivaled division with a lot of history behind it. So unfortunately we couldn't get more guests for this program.
Yeah.
Kind of maybe it's with current events. No one was interested. It's harder to promote these days, mm-hmm. but we're going to do our best as, an NFL podcast to still give you the best in-depth analysis of these teams that we possibly can. So we're going to start with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I feel like that's kind of fair because as we're in confusing times in 2020, might as well start with a confusing team or a team that is confused, I would like to say.
Yes.
The Steelers to me are there's always at least one team in every division that I compare to the Rams. And I always call them the same thing throughout this series we've been doing is they are the enigma team. Mm-hmm. That you don't know what they're going to be. is Ben Roethlisberger going to stay healthy? He literally threw a football and was out for the season last year. That's a bad look.
That's a real bad look.
And then you come in, you have Mason Rudolph, who played okay and then got his skull bashed in. And then you have Duck Hodges comes in, and sure, he lit up the league for a couple weeks, but he got figured out and he looked like, what he looked like. It was an undrafted rookie, 7th round maybe.
Yeah, a real late round draft pick, I think.
And he just didn't perform, and the offense struggled. They had injuries in the running back in the backfield. Juju Smith-Schuster just didn't look like a number 1 wide receiver without Antonio Brown there.
Yeah.
You don't know what they're the only thing I can guarantee is that defense is still going to be top 5. That defense is spooky.
Oh yeah, absolutely. With with TJ Watt over there now, or them getting him, and they just have a great defense, and I think that's been a Steelers thing for basically eternity. They've, for the most part, always have had a great defense, and I think that's something that they've continued to pride themselves on. It just happens to have a good offense every year or so, now and then. But I think, like you said, like it was literally a QB carousel for that team this year. As soon as Big Ben goes out, and you kind of look at Big Ben and where he's come from, and he's literally he's the last starting quarterback from the draft class of 2004, because Eli's retired and he passed the torch to Daniel Jones. Are we going to see the same thing with Big Ben? I don't know. And I don't see Phillip Rivers starting the season for the Colts.
Really? You don't?
I hope for it, but I think something's going to happen. I think they're going to see the right thing they want to from a young quarterback. They got Jacob Eason in the draft, so there's your hot take right there.
That's very spicy.
That is very spicy.
That's kind of like Szechuan spicy. I got some Szechuan chicken from the Chinese place. It's a little spicy. It's like Szechuan spicy. I like it.
Yeah. And and the only other quarterback that's from that draft class still is Matt Schaub, who's forever a backup to Matt Ryan for the Falcons. So that was actually a quarterback who I didn't know was in that same draft class. But yeah, it's just dwindling. You're not getting those long-term quarterbacks. Of course, there's exceptions. Not going to name names. We'll talk about them next week. But yeah, I feel like you're getting to the point now where I think it's time to move on for Big Ben. I think just the fact that he threw a football and destroyed his arm. I believe it was against the Seahawks. He went out.
It was against the Seahawks. I'll never forget it.
Just the fact that your normal motor skills gives you an injury. Like, that is the telltale sign that I would have seen and said, all right, I'm done. See you guys later.
You would at least like to think, after what I saw, I'm not trusting my offense in the hands of Mason Rudolph or Devlin Duck Hodges. I'm just not.
Right.
I don't know why they didn't draft a quarterback. At no point in the draft did they take another quarterback. And I realize you have 3 on the roster, but with Big Ben at the stage he's in, and I will not listen to it. Every single season, as soon as a quarterback gets hurt, especially one of the older ones or like an old wide receiver, an old anybody, they say, oh, he's stronger than ever. He's healed from his injury and he's better than ever. I'm not going to listen to that. I'm just not. I don't.
Yeah.
You're not going to convince me that a guy who threw a football, a quarterback that threw a football, destroyed his elbow, and was out for the season, that he's better than ever. You're not going to convince me of that.
No.
So maybe they just trust Mason, or maybe they trust the running game, and they're just going to do a 49ers style. They're going to keep the defense amazing. They signed Devin Bush. I think he just signed his franchise tag. I don't think they did a long term.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what they got done. but stud linebacker. They obviously have T.J. Watt, and they have a slew of talent. Minka Fitzpatrick was just the steal of the trade deadline stuff that happened last season. Absolutely mind-blowing that they got him for basically nothing, and then he shows up and gets like 2 pick sixes, a couple interceptions for the half season that he was in Pittsburgh. That was crazy. But and then on the offensive side though is James Conner and his new swolled up body.
You saw that picture? Oh, I was like,
dude,
why?
That was disgusting.
Why do people want to look like that? And just like, it doesn't look comfortable. Like, come on,
all the time. Can't move.
Like, can't fit through doorways because your arms are sticking out so far.
Got to go sideways through the door. Yeah. Now, people with that much money, they have mansions that don't have doorways. Everything's open floor plan, so they don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, or they have they could have what I've always dreamed of is doorways wide enough for golf carts.
Ooh, so you just that'd be nice. We can get like a Wall-E thing going, and everything's just like on a track, basically.
Yeah.
Ooh,
that sounds.
We should start working on that.
Oh, that's $1 billion idea right there.
Yeah, who wouldn't want that in their house? A little golf cart that's on like a track that goes everywhere in your house, from like your TV to your fridge, and then back to your TV, then your fridge, and basically just to the TV and the fridge, and then that's all you need it for. And sooner or later, maybe one track to go to the bed too, for when it's actually time to go to bed.
Yeah,
$1 billion idea.
There you go.
But I don't know. I don't know what to think of the Steelers. I really don't. Can the defense carry them to the 7th seed? I don't know if they're not going to win the division.
No.
Unless something weird happens with the Ravens. I don't know. I can see them at 9-7. We do our records on Thursdays. We do our record predictions official after we go through the schedule. But just off the top of my head, they just scream 9-7, make a 7th seed, and lose in the first round. That's just what I see.
Yeah, and I agree with it. I mean, that's they were. If you were to look at last year's the way everything ranked out at the end of the year, they would have been the 7th seed in the AFC. So they're right there. I don't see a huge drop on the team for this year coming up. I mean, obviously all teams might take a step back, but I don't see that they've lost a ton in order to not be at that 9-7. Like they're kind of consistently there. I mean, you have a few surprises here and there. But you know who we haven't talked about that came to the Steelers?
Enlighten me.
Let's see. I'm going to say the number wrong, and I don't want to, but I'm going to guess that there's probably 8 or 9 XFL players that have joined the Steelers.
Oh, that's so long. Oh, just saying XFL hurts my heart, but that is true. It probably was 8 or 9. That's probably where we left off at. Oh my gosh, they do. The Steelers led the clubhouse in gaining XFL talent, and good for those players. And I hope they make the team.
Yeah,
forgot about it. Maybe that changes something. Maybe
that very well could.
Most of them were defensive players, though. They already have a solid defense.
Maybe they'll train them to go to the other side of the football.
Let's do it. That's what Seattle used to do. We used to draft defensive linemen and turn them into offensive linemen. And we have a top offensive line in the league, don't you know? Yeah, that style works great.
We could always go back to high school days. You play both sides of the line.
Yeah.
The entire game. Let's go.
Let's do it. I'm all for it. Maybe these XFL guys got grit.
There you go.
Maybe we'll see it. Well, as we move on, I just looked at their draft. They did get Chase Claypool from Notre Dame in the 2nd round.
Yeah.
If he can make an immediate DK Metcalf kind of impact, maybe that helps free up Juju on the offense. But I'm still very, very weak on the Steelers. They're going to ride that defense as far as the defense will take them. Other than that, I don't have high hopes.
I'm right there with you.
Another team that we definitely don't have high hopes for that no one should have high hopes for is the Cincinnati Bengals. Oof.
Yeah, big oof.
This is a 13-3 team, right? Joe Burrow is going to take them to the promised land, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I mean, was that your dream last night?
Oh, that's not what we're going with?
No.
Oh, we're going a different direction. My bad. Flip that around. 3-13.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That seems a little bit more realistic. But Zach Taylor did his best last year. The new head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. Some of those games, it looked like Cincinnati had some fight in them at the very least. The defense, I feel like the defense is a little underrated maybe. It's definitely not tops in the league by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
But I feel like their front, at least their front four. I don't know if they run a 3-4 or a 4-3, but I feel like their front four, if you're going to move at least that outside linebacker to the line, I don't know.
Right, yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say front four just for the fun of it because they do have a strong run defense. They played against Seattle, first game of the season. I thought we were going to lose to the Bengals. I really thought the Seahawks were going to lose that game. It was a team that had spunk. And that's what I like to see out of teams that are trying to rebuild. So AJ Green didn't play, I think, at all. So he's going to be at least coming back and helping Joe Burrow this year. Yeah. John Ross seems like just like a very poor man's Tyreek Hill. He's fast, but that's about it. What's the running back? Boy, oh boy. That kind of sucks.
Joe Mixon.
Yeah, Joe Mixon. I don't think he's a bust. I just think he's running with a very weak offense. Yeah. Can Joe Burrow really make an immediate change to this franchise that's just a losing franchise? There's no other way to put it.
Yeah. I don't think it's immediate. I think they got a couple years to kind of build this team up. I mean, yeah, the Bengals had spunk last year, and they definitely didn't just lay down on games. I mean, not that any NFL team really just lay down and let them lose. But you could tell he had his hands full, and I feel like this is kind of the scenario we're starting to see where you have these quarterback coaches, assistant coaches that are getting, and no disrespect to Zach Taylor, he probably interviewed great, deserves the head coaching position, but these are where I see as owners and general managers are seeing that they're coming down from a certain tree. That person that they got hired by is doing well, and then they say, "Oh, well, you're on his staff, so obviously you must be excellent. So let's bring you on to our team." Well, not everybody has the same mindset when they go on their own separate ways. Like, there's always a fork in the road. Not everyone goes the same way. So, and you could tell he was trying. I mean, I think he was trying real hard because he benched Andy Dalton. And he was like, nope, we're going to try something different. That clearly isn't working. Something's not working. Let's fix it. But then he brings Andy Dalton back a couple games later.
Didn't they bench him on his birthday?
I think they did.
Wasn't that a thing?
I think that was a thing because it was like, why would you bench a man on his birthday? Because that is the worst birthday present ever.
Sorry, I just remembered that.
He comes into a team meeting and says, "Happy birthday, Andy," and then, "Hey, you're not starting this week." What?
Yeah, for your birthday, go ahead and get lit.
Yeah,
you can even be hungover, whatever, and you don't have to play. It's great. They did it for him. Yeah, that was the story.
Yeah, I mean, they bring him back towards the end of the season. And they're just trying to make something work because the backup quarterback wasn't working, and they just seemed like, I don't know, with the Bengals. They just seemed like, what are you doing? Like you're kind of doing something, you're kind of not doing something. And I think that's probably the reason why Andy Dalton took so long for him to be able to lead the Bengals and go after the Cowboys. But I think I think they got to build something. I think they've approached it in the draft with getting Joe Burrow, who was the consensus number one pick, and they go and get T. Higgins, who was a first round draft pick potential, who goes in the second round. I mean, although it's the first pick in the second round, so basically a first round pick.
Pretty close.
Yeah. So right there, you have a quarterback, wide receiver, both same draft class, that are going to now build a relationship because they're both rookies. So rookies kind of stick together. I mean, you learn from veterans, you move on, but that kind of that class that comes in, you're kind of all in the same mindset for the most part. And let's see what this quarterback wide receiver combination can do. Let's see what Zach Taylor's offensive mind guru, who comes from Sean McVay, and let's see what he can do.
Yeah, seeing what they can do is literally all you can say at this point.
Yeah.
And I think that was the main point I was going to bring up was a lot of people are interested in the Joe Burrow, AJ Green hookup. We'll see if that clicks. AJ Green will be gone before that ever matters.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be about how is Joe Burrow and T. Higgins lining up when it comes 3-4 years down the road, if this team is successful yet at that point. So I think that's definitely what is more interesting prospect. But again, like we said, a team with very little hope. What, 3-13? Unless Joe Burrow is literally as good as they say, and he drags his team up from the depths and gets to 5 wins, sure.
I mean, if they get over 3 wins, that's a win on the season.
Yeah, I say so. Anything over 3, yeah, I'd say you accomplish. If they get one good win in there, let's say they just beat some really good over 500 team.
Yeah,
then you have something to at least put your hat on and say, all right, we have some hope here, and that's what they're hoping for. Is just
that's what
something.
We need.
But very little hope right now, with hopefully more hope to come. Hopefully in the future, hope. Lots of hope in Cincinnati. But we have a little bit more successful team as of recent, of course, is the Baltimore Ravens. And first, I just want to say, back in our episode that we did with Rob and Chris from Sports Bliss with Rob and Chris, my sleeper pick was safety Geno Stone from Iowa, who I thought, although undersized and maybe not the best tackler, especially when he's trying to tackle people that are a little bigger than him, he was a solid, very smart cover safety, very fast. He was my sleeper pick. And I said, if it wasn't for his size, could have been like 2nd, 3rd round. I said 4th round would be a good spot for him. He dropped all the way to the 7th round, and the Ravens pick him at 219. I'm going to keep my eye on Geno Stone because Geno Stone could be the next. He gets to learn from Earl Thomas to start with.
Yep.
Up and coming Geno Stone. Write that down in your books. But other than Geno Stone, they had a very successful draft overall, getting Patrick Queen, the 28th pick, linebacker from LSU. J.K. Dobbins, now to go with that running game that is just absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
I thought they had a very good draft, but will it be enough? These guys could go 14-2, 15-1, 16-0.
Yeah.
What are they going to do in the playoffs? Can this draft class, or just another year of off season with Lamar Jackson becoming a better passer, can this team win a playoff game?
We hope, but from what we see in the last 2 years, hasn't been there yet. And I love that divisional playoff game because I was just the fact that you watched the Ravens shut down like that against the Titans, loved it. But I think it brings to your point. It brings up the point that when the time comes and they're behind in the game, and now Lamar can't run the ball or do the read option, and he has to sit back and throw, and his short passes aren't there, that they struggle. Now, it's been talked in the offseason from the Ravens head coach that Lamar Jackson's going to take that next step and go up to that next level. And of course, the media is like, oh, Lamar Jackson's going to go to the next level. He's going to be so great. We'll see. That's my opinion. I'm not the
that was
hugest
another
Lamar
thing
Jackson.
I saw. Yeah. And I know our CEO, Michael Buckheister, is also not a Lamar Jackson fan. But if you want to check out his show Just for Clicks, he talks about Lamar Jackson being a bust, but at least a bust down the road, being a passer and all.
Mm-hmm.
I saw, this goes with the thing I said about Big Ben. You know, he's just as strong as ever. He's healthy as ever.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that the Ravens staff said Lamar Jackson is a better passer than ever now. He says they are very impressed with his passing and that he could be, he could transcend to that next level. The ultimate dual threat quarterback. From what I saw from your draft, you have James Proche from SMU, and you got Devin Duvernay from Texas. So you definitely didn't improve your wide receiving core.
No.
as far as I can tell. You improved your defense a little bit, the linebacking position, and you got another good running back. Other than that, you did not improve the wide receiving core, which was my main concern. You do not have a reliable jump ball guy. Yes, there's some really good plays from Marquise Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I got nothing else for you. And that's what Lamar Jackson needs, is somebody that can really adjust to a ball and win a jump ball if it's underthrown. That's what I need to see you go out and get. And I did not see them get that. And I don't, unless he really improves, I don't see how this team's going to win another playoff game against a solid defense. You know, if they meet with the Titans again, they probably lose again. I'm concerned about this in the division, the Steelers. The Steelers have a great defense. If they can copy what the Titans did, you got a big issue on your hands.
Yeah. Hey, remember who the Titans copied, though? The Buffalo Bills.
Man, but I guess that's where you that's probably why they'll beat the Steelers, because the Bills, again, strong defense, and it was able to contain the Ravens. But when it came down to it, it was lack of offensive potency, or a non-potent offense, whatever the correct terminology is there.
Right, and I think that's where you're going to see the Steelers struggle.
Right. So, again, opposite of the Bengals, probably like a 13-3 regular season.
Yeah.
They're not going to have any trouble winning the division, I don't think, unless, we talk about the Browns here coming up, and maybe they give them an issue. Who knows where the Browns might end up, but the Ravens are still going to – they have what? Did they have the easiest schedule again this season, or at least close to the easiest schedule in the league?
I think strength of schedule, when we were talking about the schedule release, I believe the Ravens have the easiest schedule.
So you could be staring at 14-2, 15-1 easily for the Ravens in the regular season. But no one cares about that. Everyone knows they're going to be successful. What are you going to do in the playoffs? Yeah. And that's where we're going to leave the Ravens off. It's a big old question mark. Can you win in the playoffs? I'm going to leave it up to Lamar Jackson. And I say, what do I say? I can't wait to do a official full schedule breakdown, which is what we're going to do at some point for an episode. Is we're going to do all the teams, all the schedules, and we're going to do playoff predictor. We're going to do it all coming up here at some point. But depending on who they play, I say they lose again. I say they don't win a playoff game this season. That's my hot take.
Yeah, I'll take it.
They'll lose again. Even if they capture the number 1 seed in the AFC, they will lose. Taking that one out of here. But our last team that we have to talk about is the Cleveland Browns. And to talk Cleveland Browns with us is my good buddy, Zach. And you have to tell everyone how to say your last name.
Tradition, like tradition. Like the Browns have a tradition of losing.
Okay.
That's not hard. It's just when you look at the name, it seems hard, but it's really not.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
All right, so we are here to talk some Cleveland Browns, and boy, how about you get us started, Durf? Because I don't think I got to gather my thoughts here because this is quite the team.
Yeah, I mean, so take a look at let's just take a step back and look at last year. It seemed like the Browns they had all the talent in the world. They were at one point Super Bowl favorites by some kind of media, I'm sure, heading into the season, and with all that talent on the paper, looking at the roster, it just seemed like they didn't perform. Nothing. It seemed like it kind of fell apart, maybe a little bit, and you've seen the struggle with Freddie Kitchens. Obviously, he's gone now. So I guess my question for you is kind of starting out is, did the Browns meet your expectations for last season or not?
I mean, the only way you're going to answer that question yes is if, you were being incredibly cynical. I think every Browns fan had a glimmer of hope, whether they allowed themselves to, say that out loud or not. I mean, hell, I was in Vegas before the draft, and I put a bid on them to at least make the Super Bowl, because it's the only two things you're allowed to do in Vegas before the draft is if they make the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl. So it starts from the top and trickles down. The Haslams, I don't feel run the team the way that it should be. I think they make some questionable decisions in the eyes of the fans. But Freddie Kitchens was an absolute train wreck.
Oh, definitely. Definitely seems like that.
I mean, with Freddie Kitchens gone now, this has been a pretty productive offseason for the Browns. They get rid of Freddie Kitchens. They bring in Kevin Stefanski. He doesn't have a head coaching position, obviously. He hasn't had one before, but he had some success as an offensive coordinator, at least with the Vikings. He's bringing in some kind of leadership role instead of just running back coach from before, a very small position with Freddie. But then they bring in Austin Hooper. They bring in Conklin to solidify the offensive line. They draft Jedrick Willis in the first round of the draft. It seems like, again, a repeat of last year. High expectations, but can they succeed? Do you like these additions? Do you think Kevin can do this? Where do you see this team going?
Well, in my opinion, I think this year, you're going to talk to a lot of Browns fans who are going to be upset, initially upset with the choice that they had for coach, with all the different options that they had on the table as far as availability for the coaching position. This one was kind of a surprise to a lot of people, especially with the train wreck that was Freddie Kitchens, like I said before, coming out of a coordinator position who didn't have a head coaching job. You have another gentleman coming out of a coordinator position, hasn't had a head coaching job. But I will say, a lot of games last year, play calling was terrible. And I don't feel like we have that same mentality this year. Not to mention, you got somebody, a team that can run the ball. I mean, you look at the Browns' talent in the run game, and I would put them against almost any team in the NFL as far as talent that they have and the depth for the running back position. I feel like this guy's gonna run the ball, old school football. A new GM who I think has full support, and then as far as bringing in new talent, my opinion on this is that they went less flashy and they went more necessity. Bringing in big, huge talent on the offensive line. Try to give Aker, in his third year, a little bit more protection, so he's not scrambling around. But you bring in a lot of big names and a lot of attitude like they did 2 years ago, and we already saw what happened with that last year.
Yeah, and with bringing in big names, and that was obviously the storyline for the Browns, and just personalities blew up and nothing worked, and it was what I kind of predicted. I did think they were going to be a successful team last year. I didn't know if I thought Super Bowl, but I thought as soon as they started losing games, the personalities would blow up and get in the way, and that's kind of what happened. So Baker Mayfield has already came out and said this is going to be his strategy. shut up and play football. He said, no, I'm definitely going to stay quieter. I'm just going to let my play do my talking for me.
Mm-hmm.
Is Baker Mayfield the key here? If the quarterback can lead, you have the head coach. He's never been a head coach. If Baker Mayfield can let his play talk for him, keep everything in the locker room and lead, is he really the key to really flipping the switch and turning this into a winning franchise?
I mean, I think the same thing could be said, for pretty much any team across the board. I mean, the quarterback is such a catalyst position in any team. And, look what it's done throughout the history of these franchise teams that were led by these quarterbacks. Not many of them were these loud, boisterous, quarterbacks. And, where there's a time and a place for that, and they blow up and they might have good seasons, longevity-wise, that's not really the ones that stand out. Your top 5 quarterbacks right now, not many of you can probably talk about many times they were on the podium and said something that was meme-worthy, So I think those people, you look at your Cam Newtons and people like that who, had talent and made it to the Super Bowl and did what they needed to do. Longevity of their career, look where they are now. And, I think that this is really going to be the defining year for Baker. Is he going to be another, money Manziel, or is he going to, shut up and just play some football? And I think that's kind of what the Browns fans want. We're sick of the flash. You can't shine up a turd for so many years and expect the Browns fans to continue to, the flash and whatnot might sell tickets, but it's not gonna, it's not gonna get you to the playoffs and beyond.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard that from many Browns fans for years. It seems like it's kind of, you're tired of the flash, and I completely agree with it. Let's just play some football and let's just grind it out and get the job done. And I think I'm hoping that's what Kevin Stefanski's bringing in for the Browns. I feel like he's bringing in that kind of mentality where you haven't heard about the Browns a ton in the media since the hiring. And I think that's, in my opinion, I think that's good for the Browns. I think that's kind of, you let them kind of go, let do their thing, and then let's see what happens when the season starts. And hopefully, I'm hoping Stefanski's got a plan for the Browns, and I hope he's gonna help Baker take that next step. I mean, was the number 1 overall draft pick 2 years ago, 2018. So there's a little bit of expectation there, and I mean, for Browns fans, I just hope that it works out.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's just one thing after another with the Browns. You imagine it, just out of fate, one time this is going to work out for them. It can't go wrong all the time. For years, you would imagine one of these times, the pieces will even accidentally fall together for them.
And maybe this is the year for him. As we wrap up our Browns talk, they do have a schedule out. We normally do ours on Thursdays for our scheduled predictions in depth, but it's kind of the team is kind of in an enigma spot right now. You don't know what's going to happen. They have all the talent in the world, but we saw that last year. You don't really know what's going to happen. Do you have kind of a feeling, a record, kind of middle of the road?
I mean, the Browns have always played to their competition. They've had really good games. One year they lost over 10 games by less than 3 points. So they've always played to their competition. They've always been underdogs. They had no idea what to do last year, being, having the spotlight. I'm predicting 9 wins. That's kind of where I've been. I've looked at the schedule backwards and forwards. I'm predicting 9. I'm hopeful for 9, possibly 8, but I'm hoping 9.
I think I would agree until I saw something different. So I think we're all in the same boat there. And
I think so.
I think as we wrap the whole AFC North in general, the Steelers and Browns might be fighting for that wild card spot, but the Ravens still look like the division favorites. So We brought on Zach for a special reason. It's a program that, if you don't know Zach, he is what you call a regional manager of Anytime Fitness in PA.
Sorry, breaking up a little bit, Dylan.
Oh,
Sorry, what was that?
we're breaking up. My bad. No, so you are the regional manager, like a Michael Scott of Anytime Fitness.
Well, I'm technically, I guess you can call me the general manager. I run a location in Warren, Pennsylvania, through the Anytime Fitness franchise.
And I love what he does there. I love the gym itself. The place looks amazing. And I get to follow him and everything he does. He does a great job down there. I watch all of his videos, and they have an amazing program out right now that I'm even participating in, a fitness program. You don't even need to be a member of the gym to participate in this. And let me tell you, just the things that this offers for the price is mind-blowing. This would be like hundreds of dollars for anywhere else. I'll let you give as much detail as you want and insight on that.
For sure. So we're calling this the Transformation Jumpstart. And, that's really what it is because, with what's been going on with society right now as far as, shutdowns in gyms across the country, people's home remedies, they worked out for a little bit, they lose their flair. And everybody, whether they're starting for the first time into the gym right now because they understand the importance that health and wellness brings to, fighting and fighting diseases and creating antibodies, or if you're getting back, you fell off for the last 2.5 months. It's really a really important thing to get started the right way. So with that, we're tackling the 3 main pillars that in this field I think need to be addressed. And a lot of places do, maybe 1, maybe 2 of these very well, and it can be sufficient for a lot of people to make strides toward their goals. But we're going to hit the 3 pillars of 1 being fitness. Whether that is you have a gym available to you or if you're working at home, we're going to give you a plan to help achieve your goals. And 2 is going to be nutrition. And we're really going to hit this hard, not only with creating meal plans for you, but also talking about supplementation and nutrition and making sure that your body gets the nutrients that it needs. That you literally cannot get from food alone. I mean, if you're eating, 6,000 to 9,000 calories a day to get the amount of nutrients that you would need for your body, and that's just obviously not going to happen. So we're going to tackle that as well. And then the last pillar, which I truly feel is the foundation of all of this, is mindset. And, we've all been there. We've started a gym. We've started a diet. We've started somewhat to get towards our goals, and we fall off after probably a month to 3 months just because we don't have that paradigm shift mentally to lay that foundation. I don't care how beautiful your top 2 layers of your house are. If that foundation isn't there, it's eventually going to crumble and fall. So we're going to try to find out what barriers are there with you that have hung you up in the past, to break through them, and create healthy habits to maintain the longevity with that.
And it's a solid program that I can't wait to get started. It starts June 8th and runs somewhere in July?
8th. Yep. It's going to be 8 weeks long. So it's going to run starting June 8th, and it's going to go 8 weeks. With that, we're going to be led by Esteban Lutz, who you guys can Google him. His reputation speaks for himself. He's worked all throughout the NFL. He's done a lot of other things as well that I don't want to embellish too much on and talk about right now. His resume speaks for itself, but he's a great guy. He's a spark plug. The guy's got a ton of energy, and everybody who takes part of the program is actually going to get a weekly Zoom call with Esteban. And he's a great guy, and I can get some results for anybody who wants to talk about it. We've run this program in the past, and the results are ridiculous. How many people can say they healthily, lost, 8 to 12 pounds in a week doing it the right way? Not many. There's cleanses, there's detoxes, there's ways to do it unhealthy, but we're going to do it the right way by, staying to our core values of those 3 pillars.
And then drop the bombshell on them. Don't need to be a member. How much does it cost for this luxurious
package? Do not
package?
Need to be a member. So for this right now, we're running on $35. Now, You may be asking yourselves at home, $35 a day, $35 a class, what's going on? We're actually running this promotion, $35 for all 8 weeks, which is unheard of. Esteban has run this exact same class for an astronomically, different price. But this is just something that we are doing because we understand what's going on. We understand people are not working, times are tough, and we really want to make sure that we are making a difference with not only the people within our four walls and our communities, but as many people as we can create that catalyst and create that spark to create everlong healthy habits, we're going to do. And this is something, I have people signing up in California, all the way to, you in Rochester. So we got a little bit of people everywhere right now that's partaking in this. And then, if you're doing it with a loved one or, friends, get on board and work together as a group. The best thing you can do is have a great support system. And we're going to provide that for you. But the more people you have in the corner, obviously, the better.
It's going to be an amazing program. And we appreciate you coming on and talking Browns. And if anybody is interested in this program, make sure you're looking up. How do you want them to contact you?
So the best way, honestly, is Anytime Fitness Warren, PA is a great way to do it. On Facebook, you can also reach out to me on the Anytime cell phone, area code 814-406-5710. Call me or text me. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions there. And if you want to actually register for the program, it's at www.atfimpact.com. And with that, you'd still have to reach out to me and we get you finalized in the system. But, reach out with any questions, comments, concerns you have, and I'll be more than happy to help you out for sure.
Awesome. Thanks,
Sounds
Zach.
great.
We'll hope to talk to you again soon.
Always a pleasure. Take care.
All right, and have a good season.
You.
Oh. Every time. There's no good timing for that. But and that's a great program that I'll be participating in. So I'll be sure to give you weekly updates on how that's going as well. It's $35 for 8 weeks of help of getting healthy and stuff. So it's really amazing. So this was our AFC North special edition with our one guest, Zach, good buddy. And if anyone has any questions about anything from all the protests going on, if anyone wants to start up a discussion with us, please, we welcome that. And if anyone is interested in the Anytime Fitness program, you can also reach out to me and I can give you information directly from Zach. We'll figure out how to get you started on all of this. So
definitely.
As we wrap up, Fred, how do we end it?
All hail the Jockstrap King.